you think that by selling the property yourself as a for sale by owner can save you a couple of $1,000s, you may have to think again. In this episode, I'm going to go over on what is the pros and cons about selling the property yourself. Where can you possibly save some money, but where it actually could cost you money. If we haven't met, I'm Tsai. I'm the leader of About You team, EXP North Star Group. Last year, our team has sold over 1,000 properties. Our volume is at almost $1 billion. It consists of residential, commercial real estate. And in this channel, my intention is to bring you important facts about buying and selling of properties, and then also information on where it could help you live a great life based on my personal experience. And what I wanted to share with you is about how we can live, work, and play and live a fulfilled life in Southern California.
First, what's the biggest financial trap FSBO sellers fall into that they never see coming?
So the biggest financial traps that I see for sale by owners commits would be they want to save the commission, right? So commission typically is 2 to 3% on one side. And so if you decided to pay for both sides, then obviously it's 4 to 6%. Understand that the commission is negotiable. So sometimes we see that for sale by owner, they want to save that 4 to 6% or whatever percentage, okay? Is that they believe they can do the whole process themselves. Although, selling a property is not rocket science, okay? But the thing is, what we have seen is that actually during a transaction, there are lots of nuances. Such as, before you put the home on the market, what are some of the things that you could do so that you can do some light renovation or sometimes even heavy renovation to gain way more rather than leaving money on the table. So let me give you an example. A couple months ago, we sold a property. If we don't do any work to the property, they probably will sell the property for under $600,000. And we give them advice on remodeling the place, invest $30,000 in the property. You can get like double or triple the investment that you put in, and which they were able to do that. So what we did was we did that remodeling, and then we sold for $750,000, which means they put in $30,000 and then they got $150,000 back. So that's something that if they were to sell it themselves, they may not see that opportunity or having that resource and connection of people to do that for them. Second thing that it could happen is that because most people, they don't buy and sell homes every day, right? So imagine if you are selling a car and you have never done it before, and you may be lacking that exposure on showing the property to enough people, showing the car to enough people. And so without the proper exposure to the property, if there are some people that just don't even know that your property is for sale, then you lose out that additional couple thousand, tens of thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars on your property. I haven't even mentioned about the legal situation, the negotiation situation, because especially if the buyers has an agent representing them, I would say if you don't have a representation, you better kind of hope that the buyer agent is not too tough on you, because if they know how to negotiate and you don't want to get into any legal situation, they may see that because you don't have the experience, they will try to take advantage of you. Or sometimes it may make sense to take their offer or their negotiation because it's legit, but because you are very stuck on your terms and or your price, you don't take a good offer while you should take it. And then it ends up you having to hold on to the property, which could mean that you have a couple $100,000 tied in to that property where you could have used that money to invest into something else. So those are just some basic things that I would look into if you are thinking about doing a for sale by owner. Definitely something to pay attention to, something to consider, because those are very important.
Next question. What's one thing FSBO sellers think is easy but turns out to be a total headache?
One thing that we see a lot, because I used to call a lot of FSBO owners to see if they wanted to sell their property. So one thing that they often overlook, we're gonna talk about the pricing and negotiation already, so I'm not gonna get into that. But one common thing that I see is that for FSBO owners think that they can just put a sign in the front and then kind of hope that somebody will see it, or maybe they'll do some advertisement or put it online somehow somewhere and hope for a buyer to come in. And even I would say showing the property could be something that can cause a lot of stress to the seller, because you gotta be able to coordinate the showings, you gotta be able to follow up and ask the right question and not say too much to the buyer or the buyer agent, because we have had experience many years ago where sellers and buyers, they would talk to each other because they ran into each other at the property, and then we always tell our seller, don't disclose anything to the buyer, let the agent talk to us. Because if you over disclose, because sometimes buyer can be curious, hey, do you have any offers, what's the situation, what's the pricing, and then if you disclose too much, and then that may cause us to lose our negotiation power. So that's why it's always good to have an agent to represent you if you're selling your property, because you can just say, I don't know anything, talk to my agent. And the agent will be able to negotiate for you on your behalf to get you the best price possible. And also obviously negotiate for the term for you. So one thing that sellers overlook is that they tend to oversimplify even just the showing process or the contract process, because the contract is this thick, about this thick. This is like what, 2 to 3 inches, maybe more if it's a condo, because the HOA doc sometimes could be a couple hundred pages. So all these pages, we gotta know how to figure it out, but I'm not even gonna get into it. And the contract wise, let's say for a owner, there's a lot, so definitely look into it. And that's one of the reasons I actually don't even sell my own car myself, because I don't want to mess up the process where then there could be like a legal liability, which I need to worry about.
One myth FSBO sellers always believe that you just love to debunk.
One of the biggest myths where first time owner believe is that if I were to do it myself, then I can save that commission. So if you're thinking about doing that, I want you to think of it from a couple different angles about this commission side. So obviously you can do yourself. You can do anything yourself, right? You can even represent yourself at a court, right? Which you could win, but it may be challenging, right? Because everybody's level on negotiating or representing yourself on the court is different. So I can't say you're gonna win or lose for sure. But when it comes to real estate, yes, you can do it yourself. And a couple situations though to expect is that if you do decide to do it yourself, I would say, honestly speaking, you have to mentally be prepared that you are likely not gonna get top dollar. And let me explain why. Number one is that because if you put it on the market or even something off the market yourself, you don't have the resource or the tools to have exposure. So again, I kind of mentioned that. So not that many people would know that your house is even for sale. That's number one. Second, if you are putting your home on the market unrepresented, meaning first time owner, the buyers would still likely have an agent. Okay, 80-90% of the buyers are still represented by an agent. Okay, so guess what? The agent, they will go look what's on the market and what's not on the market, meaning what's represented by the owner. And because they know, hey, you're not on the market, then in a way you're not paying the commission on one side. Because some for sale owner, they wanted to pay commission for the buyer side, they just don't want to pay for the seller side. So in a way, they're thinking you're saving 2 to 3%. Or sometimes 4 to 6%. So guess what they're gonna do in the offer that they submit? They will automatically deduct 4 to 6%. Okay, and because also most of the time for sale owner don't know how to negotiate or don't have experience on negotiating too much, when it comes to repair, the buyer agent is gonna make it sound like a big deal. and or sometimes they will use other stuff to try to negotiate you to credit them 10, 20, 30, $50,000 in repairs. So that's definitely some risk that you have to look into if you are representing yourself. And a lot of time for sale by owner are just kind of pricing or guesstimating how much they can list their property for. Maybe they look at Zillow, or maybe they'll look at Redfin to guess the price. And but there's just so much more to look into it. Obviously preparing for it, following up for it, doing open house for it, marketing for it. There's good amount of things involved. So anyways, when it comes to demything, they think that they're saving 4 to 6%. But when it comes to research and study, I remember last time I checked, they're actually netting about 13% less because lack of exposure, presentation and marketing, and negotiating, or maybe even pricing the property. There are lots of factors that can play when it comes to selling a property, because sometimes the owner could just be emotionally too attached, which I don't blame them, because they've been living in the property for 35, 10, 20 years, right?
What's one piece of advice you'd give someone right now who's still convinced FSBO is a great idea?
So, last but not least, if you are considering about doing a for sale by owner yourself, which is totally okay. Like I say, I'm not 100% against it. In certain situations, maybe that make more sense. Not too many though. I recommend, if you are doing a for sale by owner, or you are thinking about doing a for sale by owner, reach out to a professional agent that actually care about your end goal. Okay, so I would say you can definitely always reach out to me. We want to show you all of the options based on you doing it yourself, and or what is your end goal, because ultimately the thing for you is to figure out how you can get to your destination. And a lot of time it's not about whether if you do it yourself or you have somebody else do it for you. The key thing is, why are you selling this home, and then how important is it? So all these things we want to be able to sit down with you, figure out with you based on where you're at, where you're trying to get to, and from there then we can figure out all of the options, and then you can find out what's best for you, and we go from there. So if you're on the fence thinking about it, just reach out to us and we'll be able to give you a tailored plan based on what you're trying to accomplish. So in conclusion, what I wanted to say is that you can definitely do it yourself, right? But please do understand and realize that it could be quite emotional draining, because even for myself, I would say probably 10-ish years ago, I had a property which I am the owner, even just renting it out to manage it myself to try to find a renter. I found it so annoying. And I'm a freaking realtor. There's just so much work for even renting a property. And in my career, I have sold, obviously bought a couple properties in my real estate career. Even when I sell my own property, I know that there's a lot of work and I have experience. So for you, if you want to do it yourself, I mean, we can help to give you some guidance and help. And but I recommend you hire a professional agent, or at least talk to a professional agent to find out all of your options and what they can do for you. And then you can then decide whether or not you want to do it yourself, and or you want to hire a real estate agent to help you out. Alright, like I said, if you're looking to sell or looking to buy real estate in Southern California, actually even out of state in a different country, you can reach out to us, because we do have a wide network that we can connect you to. Meanwhile, if you like the content that we're creating here, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It will help us out tremendously to actually get pushed to people who is looking to buy and sell real estate. And then if you have any real estate questions, thoughts, doubt, concerns, feel free to leave a comment or just send us a DM, and then we'll be more than happy to help you to find your North Star to where you're trying to get to. All right, I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.